Before we begin today's meeting, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge that tomorrow is Remembrance Day. This is a time for all of us to pause and reflect on the courage, sacrifice, and service of those who have fought for our freedoms in wars past and in peacekeeping missions around the world. We also recognize the families who supported them and those who continue to serve today, both at home and abroad. Their sacrifices remind us of the cost of peace and the importance of unity and gratitude in our communities. And while we recognize this, especially today, it's also something we should carry with us and live by every day, showing respect, kindness, and appreciation for the freedoms we have. I now ask that everyone join me in a moment of silence to honor our veterans and all those who have given their lives in service to Canada. Thank you. I'd like to call our regular meeting of City Council for Monday, November 10th, 2025 to order. The City of Dawson Creek acknowledges that we are privileged to live and work on Treaty 8 territory and the traditional home of the Cree, Danazé, Saulteaux, Sicanee, and Slavey First Nations. We value the Métis peoples that live and gather here. We commit to upholding the respectful relationships these nations have built with the land, and we acknowledge our responsibility to carry that forward today and into the future. First order of business, 2 delegations. 2.1, we have Moira Green, General Manager, and Adam Rolick, Chair of Community Futures Peace Liard in attendance regarding Invested in BC's North. So, good morning, both of you. Welcome. Good morning. Yeah, you just push that button, Adam. Yeah. Good morning. There you go. Good morning. And the floor is all yours.
Thank you, and good morning again. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you this morning about Community Futures. My name is Moira Green. I'm the General Manager of Community Futures Development Corporation of Peace Liard, and today I am joined by Adam Rolick, who is the Chair of the Board for Community Futures Peace Liard. And do I have to hold it to make it go on? Okay. There we go. Awesome. Thank you. All right. We would like to acknowledge that we also serve in Treaty 8 territory. The area that we serve extends from the Alberta border to north of Fort Nelson. It is an area of more than 300,000 square kilometers. And we would like to respectfully acknowledge the organizations that make our work possible. Community Futures receives operational funding from Pacifican, which is formerly Western Economic Diversification. Other organizations provide specific project funding. Some examples are the Regional Business Coach Program, which is partially funded by the South Peace Mackenzie Trust, and the Northeast BC Immigration Pilot, which is funded currently by South Peace Mackenzie Trust, and next year by Northern Development and our partners at Northern Lights College. So Community Futures offices nationally are governed by volunteer boards of directors. This is our 2024 board, and the information that you're seeing, some of it came out of the annual report, which is based on the 24-25 fiscal. So last year, these are the people who were guiding us through. And this year, our new board looks like this. So we have made a concerted effort to make sure that we are representing the communities in the region that we serve. These directors are able to share their knowledge and their lived experience with the organization so that we can meet the needs of the small to medium-sized sector in the communities that we're serving. The operational team is small but committed. Our office is located in Dawson Creek and is staffed by our financial officer and our office administrator. Our lender uses that office as her home base, but she is able to work in community whenever she's required to be out. I am in Dawson Creek 3 days a week, usually Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and I try to work out of Fort St. John for the other 2. And whenever I can, we try to travel north to Fort Nelson or to the South Peace into Chetwynd or Tumbler Ridge. We are supported by a small group of contractors who do business coaching, marketing communications, and some lending administrative support. The core work of Community Futures is to provide business supports and low barrier lending to the small to medium-sized sector. As well, our contribution agreement with Pacifican requires that each office participate in community economic development. In addition to the list that you see here, we work with organizations and not-for-profit sector on strategies, strategic implementation planning, and financial planning. Our Community Futures office is part of a national network, a provincial network, and a national network. The network, is part of Pan West, which is the network that supports Community Futures in the Pacific and Western regions. So our office belongs as a member to Community Futures British Columbia, which belongs as a member to Pan West, which belongs as a member to the Canadian network. These networks are able to provide us with the bench strength to do some of these sorts of projects. So an example is the Export Navigator program, which provides pathways for local innovators to get their product to market. So if you know someone who is building an invention in their garage, please send them our way, we can help. The My Community Futures program is low barrier training and professional development. It's available electronically through a portal. It's free to anyone who would like to sign up through the My Community Futures program. And it is a direct result of the Community Futures response to the pandemic. So some good things came out of the pandemic. And the self-employment program, which is delivered in partnership with Work BC and the province, but which was the brainchild of the Community Futures Network in the 90s. So Community Futures designed the self-employment program, and subsequently it has gone to be part of the provincial offering. As part of our commitment, we attend every regional trade show that we can get to. We support and attend the Spark Women's Leadership Conference. We sponsor and support the Dawson Creek Community Awards. And most recently, we participated as sponsors and speakers at the Marketing the North Creators Camp, which was a ton of fun. So in 2024, back to our core. In 2024, our loan portfolio was just north of $3.1 million. This year, at the time of writing, which is a couple of weeks ago, it had grown to 4.7, and we have another million or million and a half in the pipeline that we're working on right now. So our current goal is to make sure that we are getting as much capital on the street as we can, because it doesn't work for small to medium-sized enterprises if it's sitting in the bank. So we want it out there on the street doing its work. The average size of the loan is small, but even these small amounts make a huge difference to a small business. And we're physically out on the street in the communities that we serve, meeting small businesses where they are. Our next Export Navigator representative is actively looking for people who are innovating, solving real-world problems by inventing a solution in the shop or the garage. He affectionately calls it flipping rocks. He's out flipping rocks, looking for somebody who doesn't know that they are brilliant, but needs the help to get their invention to market. And we have a loyal group of businesses that take their professional development very seriously. Now, I'm pretty sure that you want to hear about the immigration pilot, so we'll cover that in a couple of slides here. We're just wrapping up the first year of the pilot project. These numbers are current at time of writing, so that's 3 weeks ago, and they have changed. But this gives you a pretty good idea of how we're doing. We designated 167 employers in 5 sectors across the region. The 5 sectors are sales and service, education and social, trades and transport, sciences, and natural resources. And in our first year, that we found that the significant demand was in the sales and service sector. So 75% of our employer designations were in the sales and service sector. Our first candidate intake was very surprising. Because we only had 60 available recommendations, we throttled the portal to stop taking applications at 100. But the portal was full and shut down in 8 minutes. So, color us surprised. Anyway, we reached out to the designated employers, asked them to submit 1 candidate each, and reopened the portal, and we were able to ensure that every designated employer who wanted to had 1 candidate in the hopper for the process. Pardon me. This slide shows the candidate intake by community. So the candidate submissions mirror the designations, and we think that if we were to actually run the numbers more thoroughly, that we could link the size of the community and population to the ratio that we're seeing here. So it's pretty reasonable, we think, in terms of numbers. So candidate intakes. This slide shows the candidate intakes by sector. So IRCC, who's Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada, has limited the number of recommendations that can be issued to any single sector to 50% of the available recommendations. So we had 60 recommendations, which means maximum of 30 to any individual sector. And you can see that there was significantly more demand than there was space in the program. So IRCC requires that we state our intake and review strategy as part of the annual approval process. In year 1, with 60 recommendations, we were allowed to choose 5 sectors and 25 occupation codes, and we chose to process them in a first past the post process. So candidate recommendations were processed in the order that they were received up to the cap, and then that sector was eliminated, and then we continued to process applications in the order that they were received. So at the time of writing, we had processed 56 recommendations. So each occupation code contains a digit that identifies the level of skill or education that the applicant has. Tier 0 is the highest, which indicates a chief operating officer, a chief administrative officer, a chief executive officer. Tier 5 is the lowest and indicates secondary education and on-the-job training. Our recommendations are well distributed into Tier 2, 3, and 4, which was our goal, which means that candidates that are being submitted are both educated and or skilled in the work that they're doing. So at the time of writing, we had 56 recommendations issued from 8 countries. Since then, we have applied for and IRCC has approved 20 additional recommendations. We have filled all but 7, and we have reached our sales and service cap. So we're reaching out to the designated employers in the other 4 sectors to fill those, to ask them if they have any candidates which they can submit to fill those last 7 recommendations. We don't want to leave them on the table. Our application to IRCC for the 2026 operating year is due by the end of November. The steering committee is actively working on that, and we anticipate that the employer portal will be open for new designations by the end of January. So please watch the website for information. And just back to Community Futures for a minute. Here are some examples of businesses that have been part of the Community Futures family. Brew 242 in Tumbler Ridge. Beckalicious Cooking in Fort St. John. Beckalicious was also part of the business, oh my goodness, it's gone out of my head, self-employment program, yes. Nordic Vale Honey, they were right here in the South Piece. And also Sweet Adventures in Tumbler Ridge as well. So in 2025, we plan on helping many, many more businesses. Our goal in the 25-26 fiscal is to reach as many businesses as we can to ensure that they have the financial resources that they need to thrive, and also to reach as many not-for-profits as we can to ensure that they have the strategic resources that they need to thrive. So we will continue to build a resilient and stable SME and not-for-profit sector in the communities that we're serving. So thank you so much. Oh, wrong way. And do you have any questions?
Thank you for the presentation, and appreciate you coming in and presenting this and getting us this information, so thank you. I'll open up to council. Any questions? No. I had, go ahead, Councillor. No, you go ahead.
I'm still thinking it up.
Are you?
Yeah,
Okay.
formulating. I had something, so go for it.
No, I just had a question. I think all great information and great to see what Community Futures is doing for entrepreneurs and that growth. And it was nice to see like the dollar value, but then that it's only 70,000 per. So it just shows how many people it's actually touching. So it's amazing. And I wanted to touch on the pilot program a little bit. So I know, I know there's definitely some shortages and concerns around that in the area, but it's nice that we at least have this pilot program, and there's some wins that are coming out of it. But I did get an email on the weekend from a local grocery store that had some concerns around it. Were you able to see that, Moira? It was sent to myself and Community Futures. If you haven't seen it, the only reason I was asking now is I'll forward it off to you.
I think I know the one is it about the amount of traffic that they're getting around candidates?
No,
Okay.
no, it was something different. So, and then I was pretty sure, but it wasn't your name on the email, so I'll forward it off to you, and then you can.
Okay, that would be great.
I just wasn't sure if you've seen it, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Councillor Earl?
Thank you, Your Worship, and thank you both for coming today. That was a very informative presentation. I just have one quick question, I hope, with respect to the pilot program. I know in our initial conversations about Community Futures taking up the pilot program, there was, it was indicated, I think, that the first year, because Dawson Creek had not participated in it prior, in subsequent years, should the initial rollout be successful, that we might be able to apply for eligibility for more spots. Is that still the case, or are we kind of capped at?
So the annual allocation is a direct result of the Canada's policy about refugees and immigrants each year. We anticipate that we will have additional recommendations in the 2026 year, but they are not making any guarantees. And if the national government continues to throttle back the number of temporary foreign workers they're allowing into the country, we may not see additional recommendations. So we've asked that question of the staff team, who's our representative at IRCC, on multiple occasions. And they're a great group of people. They've tried to be as helpful as they can, but they are unable to provide us with any guarantees or any indications. Now, having said that, we have to have our application for the 2026 project into them by the end of this month. And they have told us we will be ready to roll in January. So they're going to have to make the decision PDQ.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Earl. Any other discussion? Oh, Councillor McDonald?
Thank you, Worship. I don't really have a question. I just wanted to say thank you for the work that Community Futures does. And especially on a personal note, and for this community and this economy, how important it is that we do have the pilot project. And I thank you all for the hard work and the effort you've put in. Definitely, I know working personally, I know very well how hard it is to work with IRCC. It's not easy, but you guys are thriving. You're doing a good job, and I encourage you to keep it up because it's going to be extremely important for our economy locally here in Dawson Creek and this region. So thank you.
Thank you so much, and I will be sure to share your sentiments with the rest of the team. This is definitely a team sport.
Thank you. Thanks, Councillor McDonald. Councillor Apollonio?
Thank you, Your Worship. Just echoing the thank yous. So thank you, Moira, and of course, Mr. Adam, of course, the Community Futures for you, especially coming from an immigrant background, for helping these immigrants who are having a hard time, especially now that IRCC are getting hard time for everyone, especially in the north, for example. So actually, I spoke to a lot of people that you had helped. They got some recommendations already, and some are getting in their way that they have their papers and they are relief that somehow they will not be, sent home or not having a job that will be here permanently because they want to stay here in the northern, especially in Dawson Creek, because it's home for them. So on behalf of them, I would like to thank you, and for your team, thank you, and hi to Erica.
Yes. Erica's delightful. And thank you. Also, I know that there are some people out there who are really having a tough time. There are some heartbreaking stories that we have heard, but we're doing the best that we can for them. Okay.
Thanks, Councillor Apollonio. Any other comments? I just also want to echo what both councillors said, just thank you to Community Futures. I think it's obviously that program is amazing, but just, your phrase, like, together we were building a stronger north. Like, I think it's proven over the years that Community Future is about how do we grow together in the north, and you see it in all of our markets and in the Peace region on how Community Futures benefits and helps. So just a thank you to you and the whole team, and also a thank you for the community awards the first couple of years, really helping them get established and really bringing them back to light and recognizing community. It was huge for us to build our community culture and just really recognize the individuals and organizations in our communities. So it meant a lot for myself and council on how big Community Futures was and really reigniting that and getting it started again. So just a huge thank you to your team there, also to the board and everybody. Just, thank you.
All right. Thanks very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Have a wonderful day.
You too.
Thank you.
Good job, Adam. You're very supportive.
Yeah. I was going to say like 20 minutes and Adam didn't say anything. It's like, oh.
Right?
Yeah. See you guys. Thank you. All right. Our next order of business is 2025 strategic priority chart. There's no update today. Is there any questions? Any updates, Kevin? No? All right. Next, late items. I don't think there's any late items. No. Next, new councillor business. Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Worship. I had a busy couple of weeks this past 2 weeks. On October 30th, I attended Community Futures. Very fitting that they were here today. They're bringing partners together at the Chetwynd NLC campus. Community Futures is doing a study and preparing a report back to the provincial government just on labor market in Chetwynd, but more specifically the whole region, our economic development needs, our labor market needs, and it was just a great discussion with representatives from Community Futures, NLC, local government members, ECDEV professionals, and business leaders throughout the region. Great discussion, and I think what they're doing is going to be hugely important for this region and our understanding of our labor needs, our ECDEV needs, and everything moving forward. It was great to attend. Also, on November 6th, was able to go to the PRD with Mr. Nathan Bowder to represent the Cenotaph Committee desires to the RD. Had a great discussion with the RD members. The overall recognition of the value of this proposal and its regional value was huge. I think all the board members there saw its value. They see it on a regional level that this the start of our Cenotaph and its rebuild and its renovation being the start of something bigger for the region and us move through the region. We've been asked to go back to their RBAC community meeting to look for appropriate funding opportunities. So great discussion there. And finally, on Friday, I attended the UBCM webinar on the Heritage Conservation Act. Just a very high-level discussion about the surveys that they had put out to local CAOs and government members to discuss the proposed changes by the provincial government to the Heritage Conservation Act. On a very high level, they talked about strong support for a faster, simpler permit process, specific policies and flexibility in disaster recovery situations, and a stronger role for First Nations in heritage protection and enforcement. However, there was very strong concern that these changes are being rushed, policies are undeveloped, and future implementation processes are unfunded. So through UBCM's advocacy, they have slowed down the implementation of the Act quite a bit. The province will not do it till the spring of 2026. Now they won't introduce it to legislation till then. And if anybody wants, I do have their complete report and can share it with them.
Perfect. Thanks, Councillor McDonald. Any other new councillor business? No? All right. Next order of business 6, adoption of minutes 6.1. We have minutes of the regular meeting of council held on October 27th, 2025 for adoption. Councillor Kemp, second Councillor McDonald. Call that to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Any business arising? All right, next correspondence, 8.1, we have a letter from Raistlin Van Spronsen, resident of Dawson Creek, received on October 22nd, 2025 regarding a request to explore long-distance bus options. Councillor McDonald?
I think, Your Worship, through you, I'd like to receive for information.
I have a second. Councillor Kemp, any discussion on receiving for information? I have one, actually. I think part of this is there's talk of a new potential bus service, Flex Bus, and I feel like that's the first time I've seen that, but I would like to know more about it, because if there's an opportunity there for us to advocate for the north part of British Columbia, I feel this is an opportunity to maybe explore it. So I guess maybe my question was over to you, Devin. I don't know if you've heard of that or if it's something we can look into.
Yeah, through your worship, I have heard of it. I took a quick look just to see what currently the connection cities they're serving. So right now what you see is they're generally just in very large centers. So they've got connections between like Edmonton and Calgary, or Vancouver and Seattle, or Toronto and Niagara Falls. Like generally you're looking at very large centers that they're operating within. What Mr. Van Spronsen had referred to is that in Vernon, I believe that they are looking to see if they can attract them to come to the Okanagan and serve that area. But right now, their current model is in much larger
Bigger
centers.
centers where there's more ridership, probably. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Other discussion? No. I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Next, 8.2, we have a letter from Danielle Veach, Mayor, Village of Pouce, Coupe, received on October 29th, 2025, regarding a moratorium on rural post office closures. Councillor Parslow.
Move that we receive this for information.
Second, Councillor Earl. Thank you, Councillor Parslow. Any discussion on receiving for information? Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Worship. I think there was some great points brought up here by Pouce Coupe's council and mayor. I think Canada Post is truly an essential piece of infrastructure for so many small villages throughout northern BC, northern Canada, period, whether it is medical offices depending on the service, whether it's small businesses depending on the service, or just for straight communication throughout our country. I would personally like to see us offer a letter of support for this.
Thanks, Councillor McDonald. I guess I kind of share similar sentiments. I just didn't, I don't see any, any risk to sending a letter of support. I think, maybe the city of Dawson Creek wouldn't be as impacted, but all of the rural residents around here that rely on it and aging population, which we know in the next 15 years, it's critical. So I'm actually in agreement with you. I would like to support it. So any other discussion? No. All right, I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed, and it's carried. One opposed, myself. Oh, go ahead, Councillor.
Can I not make another motion that we give the letter of support?
It would have to be defeated.
That we just received from, oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I thought we could make a second.
No, it was dealt with under that, so.
Okay.
I mean, I could recall the vote if there was enough, but I think it's just, yeah. Sorry,
That was completely my misunderstanding. I thought we could make a second motion on it, that after the fact. My apologies.
For discussion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, through your worship, that is correct. If the recommendation is received for information, it is simply just that, received for
Okay.
information. If you wanted to make a subsequent motion, the mayor can ask for reconsideration of the motion.
Okay.
And we can put it back on the floor.
Okay, I'm going to do that. I'd like to reconsider the vote or recall it. So just if everybody's clear.
My apologies.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I should have clarified that before. So. Okay, so it's back on the floor then? Okay, so is there any more discussion for receiving it for information? Councillor Parslow?
I was simply going to say, if somebody has made a procedural error, we should deal with it right away, which we're doing.
Okay. Yeah, you're welcome. All right, so I will, if there's no more discussion on receiving for information, I will call this motion to vote. Vote is closed, and it's defeated, but I did not see. Yeah, there was 5 opposed, 2 in favor, so. Councillor McDonald, did you want to? Councillor McDonald?
Thank you, Worship. Now I'd love to make a motion that we offer a letter of support for Pouce Coupe's advocacy towards the post office, Canada Post Offices.
Thanks, Councillor McDonald. Second, Councillor Kemp. Any discussion? Councillor Earl?
Thank you, Your Worship. I was fine receiving this for information. I'm also fine sending a letter. It is too early on a Monday morning for this to be that item on the agenda that we spend 45 minutes on. So in the spirit of collegialness, I'm going to support this.
Any other discussion? All right, I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried, one opposed. Councillor Parslow. All right, next, 8.4, we have a letter from Scott Clerk, Associate Vice President, Educational Services at the Northern Lights College, received on November 5th, 2025, regarding a request for application to the NDIT Rural and Remote Employment Initiative.
Your worship, I think you skipped one. Hope Air was next.
Thank you. Just making sure Councillor Parslow is on his toes. Next is 8.3. We have a letter from Tammy Tait, Regional Manager, Community Outreach and Partnerships, Hope Air, October 27th, 2025. Request for a letter of support. Councillor Earl.
Thank you, Your Worship. I move that we provide said letter of support for Hope Air.
Thank you, Councillor Earl. Second, Councillor Apollonio. Any discussion? No? All right, I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. All right, we'll try this one again here. 8.4, letter from Scott Clerk, Associate Vice President, Educational Services with Northern Lights College, received on November 5th, 2025. Request for application to the NDIT Rural and Remote Employment Initiatives Fund. Councillor McDonald?
Thank you, Worship. I'd like to move that we give the letter support and full support for this request from NLC.
Thank you, Councillor McDonald. Second, Councillor Sudnick. Discussion.
Like we saw or heard this morning from our friends at Community Futures, this is extremely important information that we are going to need in the next 2, 5, 10 years in regards to our labor market, our employee pool available for major projects, our infrastructure, our ECDEV, everything. I think this is extremely valuable information, and the fact that NLC is willing to take this on and go out there and get it, we should be in full support and encourage it and help it in any way we can.
Thanks, Councillor McDonald. Councillor Earl?
Yeah, I'd echo that sentiment. I think the fact that NLC is being proactive on this is commendable. I think the fact that NDIT provides fundings for an initiative like this is great. I think we should obviously be a part of it. One thing I will note is it is some, I don't know, it's disappointing, I guess, that this isn't something that is done under the umbrella of the provincial government as part of their duties as a steward of regional economies throughout the province. But barring that, I'm happy to support this.
Thanks, Councillor Earl. Any other discussion? I'm as well fine with this. I think it's a great initiative, and there's a lot of value in this. I guess just the one thing is just understanding what the commitment from the city is on this, just ahead of time, knowing what that dollar value is, but also saying that from what I understand is Northern Lights College is willing to take this on fully. So I don't see that there being much of an impact to the city, but that's my only thought is if there is a financial implication for this from the city, that we should know about it ahead. Doesn't take that I don't value what this brings. I just like to have that information.
Yeah, through your worship, just for clarity, what we could gather from the application guide is, so the application has to be made by the local government, so that's us. There needs to be a 10% contribution of the budget from the applicant. So as long as, we'll work with the college, and if they're willing to take all that on and provide all that, and it's just a matter of us signing off on the application because it needs to come from us, and that's fine. Reporting has to come from us on that. So again, if the college is willing to take all that on, that's fine. We would just work staff to staff with them to probably develop some sort of an MOU or something so we know who is responsible for what and whatnot. But it does need to flow through the city from what we gather.
Okay, I just, I guess like Councillor McDonald's motion doesn't state that in there, that it just states that the city of Dawson Creek will do whatever it takes to, I can't remember what the motion was, but it wasn't contingent on Northern Lights College doing those things, so I guess just.
Yeah, so whatever council wants is just understanding if they're not doing it all, that means someone on our side will be picking up some of that. And again, our understanding from the letter from the college is that they're willing to take it on, but we would want to clarify what that all looks like.
What that
with
looks
them.
like, yeah. Okay, thank you. Councillor Parslow?
Yes, so what is 10%? Dollar value of 10%?
5,000, because the maximum grant, I believe, is 50, so they say that 10% of the eligible, so it'll be up to $5,000, that's how I read it.
And so are we going to seek a transfer of $5,000 from Northern Lights College to cover that?
According to the guide, the cash can come from either the applicant or from a third party, so I guess that could be if they're willing to do so.
Well, I think we should clarify that in the motion, that it is contingent on the college stepping up both monetarily and staff-wise.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Parslow. Councillor McDonald?
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. I'm okay with that, that amendment to the motion, that it is contingent on full support from the NLC. Absolutely.
So you're making that amendment right now?
Yeah.
Okay, I have a second. Councillor Sednick. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Now, not speaking to the amendment, there is also a request in there for either a staff member or a councillor be a part of their steering committee. And I just wanted to put forth that I would volunteer to be a part of that steering committee if it is the desire of council.
Thank you, Councillor McDonald. Are we good on the amendment? Should we add that into the amendment as well, that Councillor? No, that would be separate.
That can be worked out later.
Okay.
And could I offer a suggestion that council provide authority for staff to enter into an agreement with Northern Lights College to run this initiative?
Okay. So then we don't need an amendment?
If that could be added to the amendment that will be on the floor.
Okay.
So the amendment will be for the 10% allocation to come from Northern Lights College, and further that council authorize staff to enter into an agreement with Northern Lights College.
You're fine with that, Councillor McDonald?
Through Your Worship, I am completely fine with that. However, it needs to be stated for clarity and cleanliness, 100%.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Earl?
I just wanted to note in the letter, it does specifically state that that no funding is requested from the city of Dawson Creek. So I'm not sure how much we're overthinking this, but I mean, I'm fine to support either. But it does explicitly state that. So I assume any agreement we reached would be on those terms anyway.
Okay, thank you. All right, any other discussion? No? All right, I'll call the amendment to this motion to vote. It's closed and carried. Now the motion as amended. Any discussion on that? No? I will call that motion to vote. Vote is closed and it's carried. Thank you. All right, next 8.5, we have a letter from Mona McNalley, manager, Step Up and Ride, received on November 5th, 2025 for the annual grant request. Councillor McDonald?
Thank you, Your Worship. I'd like to receive this for discussion.
I have a second. Councillor Kemp. I'll call that to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Councillor Parslow. Oh, way you shut your mic off.
No, sorry. I'm just a little confused this morning. Like the rest of council, seemingly.
You could only speak for yourself.
Well, I can say this, we're all huge supporters of Step Up and Ride. I was very appreciative of receiving this letter with the information contained in it. And my only criticism of my colleagues last time, because I would have supported the motion, but with one caveat, I do think we need to enter into a dialogue with them about what this money is enabling. And because, quite frankly, as you all know, I believe we should cancel our BC Transit arrangements completely. This council has, not that I can recall, cut anything. It's certainly added quite a few things. I think with this letter and with maybe a little bit more juggling, we can provide a good service within the community. And so I'm suggesting that this annual grant, which might want to be discussed a little further, but what is it enabling? Does it align with some of our priorities as we see them? And we enter into that discussion fairly quickly before we start juggling with our budget. So I'm not going to make a motion. I think we should have some further discussion. But it's. I think that she's really been. I think she's given very serious consideration of the needs here, and it's very positive, in my opinion. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Councillor Parslow. Councillor Earl?
Thank you, Worship. Somewhat of a similar mind with Councillor Parslow. So I did vote last year when Step Up and Ride came to us. At the time, the money being asked for was depicted as somewhat of an emergent situation to cover operating costs for the year. And subsequent to that, I did note that if we were going to be expected to increase our subsidy to Step Up and Ride on an annual basis and have it be a regular line item, that I thought there should be some structure to that or some expectations. And in looking at the budget document, the money Dawson Creek allocates is budgeted under grants and fundraising, whereas there are user fees contracted with both School District 59 and Northern Health Authority, which are other levels of government. I think any annual additional funding we provide should take the form of a user fee or a contracted arrangement where there are some deliverables and expectations associated with that. If we're treating public services in a fair-minded fashion, if BC Transit were to show up and hit us up for an extra $135,000 a year, we would want to know what we were getting for that and what it looked like. And although we all adore Step Up and Ride and the people who run it, I think in the interest of the public's resources, we need to put some meat on the bones with respect to what this money is buying the taxpayers and what accountabilities go along with that. Just a thought. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Earl. Councillor McDonald?
Thank you, Worship. Excuse me. Similar sentiments as Councillor Parslow and Councillor Earl. I think Step Up and Ride is providing a very quality targeted service in our community. It is so nice to see that the money we did provide this year was the creation of extra services provided, very targeted to seniors and those with disabilities, our vulnerable portion, plus extra service to youth. I think that falls right within our strategic priorities. I greatly appreciate the report given to us. A ton of great information there. And I completely agree with Councillor Parslow. I think BC Transit is broken. They're not providing us a quality service here. I'm sorry. I shouldn't say that. We are not willing to pay for the service that BC Transit can provide. We've had that discussion, right? That for us to have the level of service we desire through BC Transit, we as a community cannot afford it. And I think it's time to rip that Band-Aid off and just say we're done with BC Transit and continue to support Step Up and Ride and have very targeted service deliverables in this community.
Thanks, Councillor McDonald. Yeah, I agree with everything that's been said. I think for me, I think our BC Transit goes till next spring. We just had a report a little bit ago, but I think for myself, I would want to understand what that looks like and what if that's the way council wants to go and look at it. I would want to see what that means, right? And is it more or less, like just really understand it all around? So. Go ahead, Kevin.
Yeah, through your worship, just a quick note too with BC Transit. If council wished to do something there and cancel the service, it is a 6-month notice. So just as we're talking about budget and you're thinking about that as what the realities are, is by the time you make a decision on that, you give notice that you may not realize all the savings, right? Obviously in the first year. So I just wanted clarity on that. And just that, as it sits, of course, this request, if added into the budget, would probably equate to another 0.5, 0.6% of an increase on taxes, unless it's offset by something. So, but those are all things that we'll have to work through in the budget process.
Well, I think from what I understand from the discussion, there's two parts. One is I would assume that we would want this to go to budget, but the other is looking at the overall part of transit and what that would look like if, Step Up and Ride did have the capacity to, to take on the areas that BC Transit's doing, right? So that would look like.
Through your worship, we've had those conversations many times with Step Up and Ride, and every time we have, they have said no. So I don't want council to think that they're going to take on BC Transit's work, because they've told us repeatedly that they have not. Now, we've given them some funding. They've been able to expand their service a bit, which is great. But based on every conversation I've had, I don't think that they're going to take on more. That's just what they've said to us. Now, what I've seen is that we've given them some funding and they have taken on a little bit more, but I just don't want any misconceptions to think that they're going to, or for people listening, that they're going to, potentially replace BC Transit and the service they provide, because I don't believe that to be true.
Thanks, Kevin. Councillor Earl?
Yeah, and it brings up the point, to your point, is understanding the entire picture, which is to say, if we do have another $125,000 to contribute annually to public transportation, which is essentially what upping this grant results in. If that were a part of the BC Transit arrangement, that would actually be $250,000 with the matching funding they provide, which, if we're talking about on-demand service and how we can't afford to fund that, I think that, there are some things to consider which would take some of the load off, potentially, Step Up and Ride. And like I said, I think, we adore Step Up and Ride as a local organization that has kind of organically grown up to fill service gaps in the community. But we do have to treat, we do have to aspire to be logically consistent and principled in how we allocate these resources and the standards we hold people to. And if, providing an extra subsidy or hopefully a fee for service that we can hang something substantive on to step up and ride. We also have to look at what would that $125,000 buy us with the other organization we contract for public transportation services. And I don't recall off the top of my head in Devin's report what the cost was for an on-demand service pilot, but I think it potentially could be around that mark. So,
Thank you, Councillor. All right, any more discussion on this? No? All right. Yeah. Councillor Parslow?
I'd like to make a motion that we include.
Did we vote? Oh, I just got to call a vote first on, I thought I called the vote on the discussion. I already did. Yeah. Go ahead, Councillor Parslow.
Are you sure?
Great.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
It was just a procedural thing. Just making sure we're on.
Well, it's nearly 10 o'clock. You should be awake now. I would like to move that we acknowledge this letter from Step Up and Ride, include 165,000 grant in our provisional budget, and enter into dialogue about service arrangements, service deliverables. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Parslow. Second, Councillor Kemp. Discussion. Councillor Earl.
Just a question through you to staff, Your Worship. Does that motion give you guys enough to know what we want? not to be facetious, but
So, Your Worship,
fairly vague.
Yeah, what I heard is to move it towards budget discussions, and number two was part of that would be, if approved, we would look to have some sort of agreement with Step Up and Ride that would talk about
Service
deliverables.
standards,
Yeah,
deliverables,
and-
things of that
and-
nature.
For that amount of funding.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
What I guess council's expectations are, and I think that will come through as we have further discussions.
Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Earl. Any other discussion? All right, I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Is there anything else on this one? No. I'm just going to call a 5-minute break. November 10th, 2025, back to order. Councillor Parslow. Actually, just one sec. I don't have any control on my screen here. Oh, there we go. Can you push your button and push it again, Councillor Parslow? There you go. Councillor Parslow.
Oh, I've got to enter the meeting, seemingly. Okay, so further to the business that we've dealt with, I would like to make the following motion, that staff explore with Step Up and Ride what additional funds could be applied to defined services that Step Up and Ride to take. So if it's a seconder, I'll explain what I mean here.
Oh, Councillor McDonald.
So we already have, through the first motion, there's going to be discussions, and I want to empower staff to explore what additional funds, additional to the 165,000, what, if there was additional funding, what services could they undertake? But I just felt that staff would probably want a motion to empower them to explore that and report back to council.
Thank you, Councillor Parslow. Any discussion on this? Kevin, you're clear on it, yeah? Okay, all right, I'll call this motion to vote. Everybody voted? Vote is closed. It's carried. Anything else under correspondence?
Not that I can think of.
No? Okay. I'll be a little clearer next time now. All right, next order of business, 9 reports. 9.1, we have report number 25-160 from the city planner regarding development variance permit 25-05, 11620 8th Street, reducing minimum setback. Councillor McDonald?
Thank you, Worship. I'd like to move the report number 25-160 from the city planner regarding development variance permit 25-05, 11620 8th Street, reducing minimum setback, be received. Further, the development variance permit number 25-05 be approved to vary the minimum required front parcel line setback of principal buildings and structures from 6 meters to 0 meters for the property located at 11620 8th Street.
Thanks, Councillor McDonald. Second, Councillor Sednick. Discussion.
I'm just curious, and through your worship to staff, would this property not have had to have a building permit to develop that patio ahead of time? Or was that just done and they've come begging for forgiveness instead of permission?
Okay. Go ahead, Bill.
Thank you. And through your worship to Councillor McDonald's question, they did require a building permit at the time. Through BC Building Code, just the nature of the building being an A2 occupancy, we're relying on the architect and engineers. At that time, I guess what I'd say is now there's a bit more oversight in our process, and we're really looking to ensure that that setbacks are required. So with the new addition that they're looking at doing to the northwest of the property, we needed a survey certificate, and at that time we realized that they were encroaching on the setbacks. I'll also add, if council supports this variance, it is supported through the official community plan under our commercial development permit area guidelines, in which the setback is reduced for the front parcel line and encouraging parking to the rear of the property, which McDonald's, this property in question, already does.
Thanks, Councillor McDonald. Thank you, Bill. Any other questions? I just had a comment on this. I just wanted to thank Devin, Bill, and David, just your guys' whole team on working with different organizations in our community to think outside the box and come up with solutions, because some of these things are things that have happened in the past and things have changed. And this is just one example, I believe, of the city team really, not sticking to the script, that they're looking at ways we can get creative. So when I was reading this, I just appreciated that, and I just wanted to pass it on, because I know this isn't the only time. I've heard it multiple times. So I just wanted to really thank you and the team for working with our residents, and so thank you. All right, I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed, and it's carried. All right, next 9.2, we have report number 25-184 from the Deputy Corporate Officer regarding Dawson Creek Library Board appointment 2025. Councillor Earl.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll move the recommendation that report number 24-184 from the Deputy Corporate Officer regarding Dawson Creek Municipal Library Board appointments be received. Further, that Heather Kohler, Valerie Coe, Sankalp Chawla, sorry, Sonny, and Brandon McKinnon, residents of the City of Dawson Creek, be each reappointed to the Dawson Creek Municipal Library Board for a 2-year term expiring November 30th, 2027. Further, that Riley Feschuk, a resident of City of Dawson Creek, be appointed to fill the current board vacancy effective December 31st, 2025, for a term ending November 30th, 2026, with the option for reappointment to a subsequent 2-year term. And finally, that Councillor Apollonio and an alternate, Councillor Earl, be appointed to the Dawson Creek Municipal Library Board for a 1-year term ending November 30th, 2026.
Second, Councillor Apollonio. Thank you, Councillor Earl. Any discussion? You didn't want?
No,
Okay.
I'm good.
All right, I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Next, 9.3, we have report number 25-196 from the Executive Assistant regarding 2026 acting mayor schedule. Councillor Kemp.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll move the recommendation, the report number 25-196 from the Executive Assistant regarding 2026 acting mayor schedule be received. Further, that the acting mayor schedule for 2026 attached to this report be approved.
Thank you, Councillor Kemp. Second, Councillor Sudnick. Any discussion? I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed, and it's carried. Next, 9.4, we have report number 25-200 from the Deputy Corporate Officer regarding 2026 council meeting schedule. Councillor Kemp.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll move the recommendation, the report number 25-200 from the Deputy Corporate Officer regarding 2026 council meeting schedule be received. Further, that the following 2026 council meeting schedule be adopted. January 12th and 26th, February 9th and 23rd, March 9th and 30th, April 13th and 27th, May 11th and 25th, June 15th and 29th, July 13th and 27th, August 10th and 24th, September 21st, October 5th and 19th, November 2nd and 16th, and December 14th.
Thank you, Councillor Kemp. To have a second. Councillor Apollonio, any discussion? Councillor Parslow.
So why are we reverting back to 2 meetings in July and 2 in August?
So through your worship, as noted in the report, that with only those 2 meetings throughout the summer and being busy construction season and the need for decisions, what we were finding is that agendas were getting very large and things were getting backed up a bit. So we're suggesting that we have the additional meetings to minimize that.
Did you say a busy construction season?
Yeah.
Or are you saying like road repairs and things?
Yeah, what we're saying through your worship is that there's decision points for councils to award contracts, tenders, all those sorts of things come up, and so more frequent meetings enables those things to keep moving.
And the department updates, so that's the financial? Was that the committee of the whole?
Yeah, so through your worship, the department updates are the quarterlies that we put on the consent calendar.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Parslow. Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Worship. I just wanted to voice my thanks for going to 2 meetings again in July and August. Those meetings were very heavy this year. Those were very long meetings, and I would add that, the construction season would include all the variance applications that we get too. So giving those variances to local residents in a timely fashion is probably beneficial to them as well. My question was, is there an opportunity to add a second meeting in December on December 1st?
Through your worship, to answer Councillor McDonald, if that's what council wishes to do and wants to amend the schedule to include an additional meeting, or take it as the month comes and we can add a special meeting. If that's the request of council, we can also do that.
Thank you. I guess one, just to add to that, the agendas usually this time of year are a little smaller, but there's also going to be a new council right then. So that would be, is November 16th, the first meeting of new council? Or is it the second?
Through your worship, I believe November 2nd
Okay.
is noted as our inaugural meeting, but I'll bring it up.
Okay. Oh, yeah, okay.
November 2nd.
Okay. I was thinking that was, yeah. Thank you.
So to make note of that, additionally, The October 19th meeting will be the last meeting with all of the current council,
Council.
depending on the elections.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? I as well wanted to just comment on thank you for adding the couple more meetings through the summer. I think we've seen that this year with just not only the one in July and August, how much pressure it put on, but also because of UBCM only having one in September, it was just led into that. So I think, you know, adding one or two more just makes sense to just to level the load out and to be able to handle and deal with things in a timely manner for everybody. So I did have one note. We don't need to change it, but June 15th meeting, I likely won't be available for that one. So, but tough to change that one around because there's ones before and after. But all right, if there's no more discussion, I'll call this to vote. Vote is closed and it's carried. All right, next 9.5, we have report number 25-203 from the Chief Financial Officer regarding actual to budget variance report for period ending September 30th, 2025. Councillor Apollonio.
Thank you, Your Worship. That recommendation, that report number 25-003 from the Chief Financial Officer regarding actual to budget variance report per period ending September 30th, 2025, be received for information.
Thanks, Councillor Apollonio. Do I have a second? Councillor Kemp. Any discussion? Councillor Earl.
Thank you, Your Worship. Under the expenditures, government transfers are at 104%. So that is the taxes we collect on behalf of other levels of government, like the school district. It essentially serves as a flow through. I get that. How did it end up at 104%? Just out of curiosity, through you to staff.
Go ahead, Melissa.
Through your worship to Councillor Earl, sorry, are you referring to within the capital table or?
Operational expenditures, I believe. It's the government transfers operational out.
On the actual,
Yeah.
sorry,
Page,
not within
I'm
the report, but
on-
within the attachment.
Page 6 of 6 of the report. Just the
Which one now?
table you provided. So it's budgeted $9,068,087, and in reality, $9,410,127 went out.
So through your worship, when we're doing these, it is a net in and out, and so when we budget, we just base it on the last year's figures. And so the requisitions required either from the RD or the school would have been up. So that would be the variance. So we actually did transfer 9.4. And then there's up above, you'll see that the collections to other governments. There's the small variance, I believe. I'm just thinking of between the two figures. I would need to bring that answer back to you, but it's just budget was based on an estimate. And so the requisitions were actually higher.
All right. Just so, but it would be, I mean, realistically, school district doesn't have the ability to raise taxes themselves.
But it's on assessment, right?
Yeah. So assessment went up 4% last year?
So through your worship to Councillor Earl, will they request a specific tax rate? I'd have to open that to see if that rate went up, but yeah, assessment went up as well.
Okay. Thank you. No worries.
Thanks, Councillor Earl. Councillor Parslow.
Yes, just the Ovintiv Event Centre. You state that the current projection is a net subsidy of 1.97 and unfavorable variance of $117,000. This is primarily due to postponed and cancelled events. Alpha Bull PBR, Northern Handmade Market, is that the totality of the cancelled events, or were there others?
Go ahead, Ryan.
Through your worship to Councillor Parslow, I think there, I'd have to go back for the first, I'm going to call it half, 3/4 of the year. Notably, as the rolling forecast comes through to the city, where the focus is really in the last several months of that rolling forecast. So all the data comes through monthly. It's reported out quarterly through the variance. And then specific to this case, these last two events would have been in the last 2 months or month of the fiscal year. And so they're the notable ones as it relates to the large changes in the net impact to the event center.
So I can infer there might have been others.
There might have been, but
okay,
I
that's
think
fine.
that the events that have been canceled aren't been canceled because of the change in the operator or the promoter. They're looking at a better time or a different time to operate their event or do their event.
Mm-hmm.
And so those event holds and contract and other ongoing discussions with them are solidified throughout the year. But at the end of the day, the promoter is the one that, takes the risk and looks to move the events around. And I do know that with the Alpha Bowl, they are looking to move the event into the new year at some point, and they're just working through those details.
Right, if I
So
can
it's a changing of the, from one year to
Schedule,
another
sure.
year. Yeah.
So just to continue reading, this is there's a confusion to me.
Yeah.
Despite this, OVG has achieved $343,000 in cost savings. Great. But this is where I'm a little confused, which partially offsets the lost revenue. Doesn't it completely cover the lost revenue? Why is the word partially being used?
So, through your worship to Councillor Parslow. So, as the event center team goes through their actual process and whatever, they conduct their monthly financial statements and rolling forecasts to us. And as they do, they are mindful of the of their expenses, and they look to either through vacancies of staff or changes in some of their operations that and able to either plan some of their business and shift it. They've achieved cost savings within their operational expenses. If they were to not do that and expended, let's say, their full operational expense, that would then the current projection of net subsidy would increase.
I'm quite aware of those things. The question is, why are they using partially? You say we've lost there's an unfavorable variance of 117,000, which is due to postponed events, which I understand.
Yeah.
But they've saved 343,000. Wasn't in my days when I used to teach algebra 12 and 11 and even grade 7 math, I can tell that there should be still a net savings. Because am I missing something, or is there a new form of math going on these days?
No, I don't think it's a new form of math, Councillor Parslow. I think that the business is quite and the work that they do and the math that they do is all according to GAAP and whatever. And perhaps maybe the word partially isn't perhaps the right word noted in the report for you. At the end of the day, they've saved a $343,000 within their operating budget. But despite and all the work that they've done and the events that they've hosted, even with that, they're still going to have a unfavorable variance of $117,000.
Oh, is that what it's saying?
So through your worship to Councillor Parslow, and I mean, this is my wording, not OVG's or OEC, so what I was basically trying to get across is that if they hadn't made those efforts to reduce those costs, as Ryan mentioned in the variable or the various methods they have, that your net subsidy would have been at a deficit of 460,000. So I was just trying to point out that they've done a good job on trying to managing their costs, and now the subsidy is only over budget by 117, where it could have been 460. And so those events that have been canceled, I mainly focused on those because they were in that last quarter within this last reporting. But I don't believe they would have been at a net break even because those costs or those events would have provided revenue or a net revenue in the end.
Yeah.
Thank you for your explanation. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Parslow. Thanks, Melissa and Ryan. Any other discussion for receiving for information? I will call this motion to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Next, 9.6, we have report number 25-204 from the Chief Financial Officer regarding financial reports to council policy. Councillor Sudnick. Thank you.
Thank you, Worship. I'll move recommendation report number 25-204 from the Chief Financial Officer regarding financial reports to council policy be received. Further, that council direct staff to amend the financial reports to council policy to eliminate the receivables report requirement.
Thank you, Councillor Sudnick. Second, Councillor McDonald. Any discussion? No, I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Next order of business, 10 bylaws, 10.1. We have report number 25-209 from the city planner regarding OCP amendment 25-02 bylaw number 4614-2025 and zoning amendment 25-05 bylaw number 4615-2025 for consideration of adoption. Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Worship. I'd like to move the report number 25-209 from the city planner regarding official community plan amendment 25-02, bylaw number 4614-2025, and zoning amendment 25-02, bylaw number 4615-2025 be received. Further, that OCP amendment 25-02, bylaw number 4614-2025, and zoning amendment 25-05, bylaw number 4615-2025 be adopted.
Thank you, Councillor McDonald. Second, Councillor Apollonio. Any discussion? All right, I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Next, we have 10.2, report number 25-202 from the Chief Financial Officer regarding 2025-29 amended financial plan bylaw number 4621-2025 for consideration of first three readings. Councillor Kempf.
Thank you, Worship. I'll move the recommendation, the report number 25-202 from the Chief Financial Officer regarding 2025-2029 amended financial plan bylaw number 4621-2025 be received. Further, that the 2025-2029 amended financial plan bylaw number 4621-2025 be given first three readings.
Thank you, Councillor Kempf. Second, Councillor McDonald. Discussion. I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed, and it's carried. Next order of business is 11 Mayor's Business, 11.1 Mayor's Updates. So before I start, Councillor Parzo, would you want to speak to the Ken Borek Memorial Wall? Or do you want to do it at the end?
I'll do it now.
Okay, please. Councillor Parzo is just going to speak to the Ken Borek Memorial Wall event and the recipients for that.
Yes.
It's good to push your button, Councillor Parzo. You're welcome.
So the Ken Borek Wall of Recognition was a legacy of the oil gas conference held in Dawson Creek. And there are three categories of recognition: business, professional, and sports. Each year, a committee reviews the nominations and makes recommendations. That happens every year, but with COVID, there was a significant gap. So we're back to normal, so there were as an inductee into each of those categories. As I said, I think at the last council meeting, it was amazing to learn about the contribution these people have made. They not only have they made a significant impact regionally and locally, but nationally and in some instances internationally. So this criteria that was set up, and the nominee for the business this year was Miller J. Patterson. And basically, his setting up of the Auction Mart really transformed the, if you like, the cattle industry here in this community and led to many business subsidiaries, a major economic transformation. The nominee, the inductee rather, for the sports was Pat Rorison. Now, Pat Rorison is already on the wall there for the business side. And it's quite the interesting story there. Pat, at the age of 62, in response to his daughter's admonition that he could not criticize her cutting until he had done it himself, so he took it on that challenge at the age of 62 and became national champion. Champions in events in Texas, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, you name it. He won over 5 saddles and 50-something belt buckles. So he's an example to all of us of riper age. And then the sports category, Spencer Setia. Now, Spencer's mother was one of my beloved secretaries in the board office, Irene, who's passed a few years ago. So Spencer is an educator. He's also a wildlife adventure sort of person and has really taken his passion for life and support of people. He's worked in refugee camps. He's worked in Afghanistan. He's worked in a number of places supporting disadvantaged people. He's a writer. He has a published book that was maybe used in the acknowledged, if you like, by Jane Goodall, the person who did all that research with chimpanzees. And he has the story was told about how he rescued I think it was a chimpanzee, Kyle, was it? Or gorilla, chimpanzee out of war-torn Afghanistan. And it was nice how everybody made comments about this community. You know, Spencer in particular, you know, he said, you know, this is home. This is where he was brought up. The families of the Patterson family, right, and Pat Rorison, you know, they're showing you the dynamic nature of this community, the talent and the immense entrepreneurship that goes on in the formation of the community and its development. And it was 3 very worthy recipients. And again, this continues to be supported by the South Peace Oilmen that make it possible.
Okay.
And Oventive, great catering, really good job. It was a good event.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Parslow, and just congratulations to those recipients, and a thank you to the South Peace Oilmans and yourself and other councillors that attended. So, all right, I'm going to continue on Mayor's updates. So, first one, Shalina's Spa grand opening. I was invited to their opening a few weekends ago, just downtown in Dawson. So, Phil and Michelle have opened a spa downtown. Actually, they've just moved a spa into a newer location, and just a beautiful facility. They've done an amazing job inside there. It's very nice. So I just wanted to congratulate them again and also thank them for inviting me to go. It was just great to see, and great to see something new downtown too, and done well. We touched on Minister, Kevin and I had a meeting with Minister Neil and Green, which would have been last meeting we had. So, them, and I think there was 16 of their staff on the call. So it was really just about our whole water scenario, what we're in today, the short term kind of fix to get through the winter, long term. There was a lot of discussion around all of that. So. I just wanted to touch a little bit on it. Obviously everybody's aware where we're at. So it was just grateful that they gave us the time, and they had a large amount of their team there to answer any questions, and also for us to answer any questions they had as well. So it was good. I attended the Inclusive Employers Award celebration. This was a few weeks ago, just at the Dawson Creek Society for Community Living building. So I just wanted to give a shout out to those employers in our community that go above and beyond, and recognize inclusiveness and support this program. But I also, it was a great event. But I want to thank David for his commitment to bring awareness to this and to host this event. This is his second year doing it, and it's he's a phenomenal person and brings a lot of awareness to it. So I just really wanted to thank him. It was well attended. It was a great facility to be in. It was really good. So I went for coffee the other day at Dark Arc. Just went down and got a tour of their facilities. Dustin met with him, and they've built a new building down there, I think a couple of years ago, and they just built another, finishing one off right now as well. So I just kind of went through their facility, and they've done a really good job down there. They've definitely transformed that property and investing in the building and in the region. So it's just there was great dialogue there. Northeast Environmental Health Team. I met with Dr. Riki and a few of their team a few weeks ago. I think they're actually going to come to council and present just on their findings. So I just wanted to thank them for taking the time to meet with me. There was a lot of information in there, and we met for probably an hour and a half just going through all of it. So I just wanted to thank them for taking the time to meet with me. Seniors Hall, I was there a few Mondays ago, they meet every Monday at the Seniors Hall. There's a lunch, so I went there and attended and just spoke about our water. And then if there was any other questions, I try to go there quarterly. But it was good. There was probably 150 plus people there. So I got to, I talked really about our water situation from February of last year, from when it froze off to where we're at today, and what the future looks like short term and long term. And so it was good. It was nice to get out and answer any questions, clarify anything that people are hearing. And I always enjoy going to the Seniors Hall. It's a great group of seniors that attend there, and it's just a great facility. So the Community Awards Gala was held last week, so I wanted to there's so many things with this one to talk about, but I'll try and keep it to a little short. But I wanted to I guess one shout out to the community for empowering us to bring it back to this level and to get out there and to really celebrate our community. There was, I don't know the number, but there was probably 150 people there. So many nominations for individuals, organizations, businesses. It's just such a wonderful event to recognize community and what makes Dawson Creek what Dawson Creek is, and a phenomenal place in my eyes is our people. So it's just such a wonderful event. I wanted to give a shout out to Michael for co-hosting with me, to the community the Chamber of Commerce and Danica, and how much work went into the evening and leading up to it. It was tremendous how much effort she put in, and not just her, the whole chamber board. And it was phenomenal. And then the Oventive team as well, just, from the decorations to, which was, I believe, Flowers by Shireen, the catering, the whole venue. It was just, it was phenomenal, really. And then I want to recognize those that were the recipients of the awards. So, I guess a couple things. Some of these categories, most had multiple nominees, but I think there was one that had over 20. And I was almost in tears when you're reading it out, because it really just hits home on really like how many people in our community give back. And this doesn't touch all of them. It was just those that were nominated. The other thing is, I think there was well over 3,500 different people voted on the awards, which is absolutely phenomenal to see. And I think that's probably the thing that I'm most grateful for is that when you hand this back to the community and you get that type of support from the community, because, the reality of that is that's 50% more people than we get that vote for an election. So it's powerful, right? That many people care about the community that are out there doing it. So, to get to the awards. So the Citizen of the Year was Emma Hawkins. Business of the Year was True North Fitness. Entrepreneur of the Year was Kaylin Marie Ravalli. Youth of the Year, Rhett Robb. The Nonprofit of the Year was Northern Lights College Foundation. Volunteer of the Year was Nicole Palfy. And then the Inclusive Workplace of the Year was Dave's No Frills. So I just wanted to extend congratulations to all of them, but to also all the nominees. It was just an amazing event. So. Next, School District 59 recruitment meeting with Simon Fraser University. So I was just asked to, they do recruitment webinars. School District 59 does. So they were doing it with Simon Fraser University. They asked me just to go on and speak for a bit on the city of Dawson Creek and the relationship. So it was just a really great opportunity to showcase Dawson Creek, and I was there to answer any questions. There wasn't much questions, but it was still good, and really, it just shows the value and collaboration and partnership and working with School District 59 to help them with their recruiting, but to Dawson Creek. So it was just I was grateful that I was able to attend, and it was really good. I had numerous interviews over the last while with CBCM, losing my mind here, and Moose FM, just mostly in regards to the water. Remembrance Day, I already touched on that this morning. There is a Remembrance Day celebration or ceremony this afternoon at Nowakin at 3:00. They're doing a fire, and then obviously the annual one that's held at Anshaga Hall tomorrow at 11:00. And then lastly, I wanted to touch on Doig River First Nations and specifically Chief Trevor McCadahay. They have an election coming up this November, and he's not putting his name forward to run again. So I just wanted to recognize Chief McCadahay. We've been here for 3 years, and one of our first meetings was with Doig River First Nations. Not one of our first, it was early on in the term, but Chief McCadahay was very inspiring at that meeting, and he just is a true voice for his nation and the community and the region, just the relationship really that we've built over the last 3 years is there's one that's community to community, but it's actually been a friendship. So I value the friendship that I've built and this council has built with Chief McCadahay, and I want to thank him for all that he's done. for Doig River, for the region, for moving us forward together. But also, I want to just congratulate him too, and on his time as chief, and for his next chapter in life and his journey. So I just wanted to recognize that today. So, any comments on mayor's updates? All right. Next, 12, Chief Administrative Officer Operational Updates. Kevin.
Yeah, good morning. I will give an update on our water situation. Recent snowfall and moisture in the region has improved the Kiskatna flows. I think as of last week, flowing around 30,000 cubic meters a day, which is great, but keep in mind that is still significantly lower than where it should be. But what that has done is that's enabled us to, over the last number of weeks, to pump a little bit more and ensure our reservoirs are topped up. So reservoirs right now are anywhere between 92 and 100%. So that's good news. That gives us 180 days approximately, which is good. But I caution that our demand is going to go up a little bit here in the coming months because we have what's called bleeder valves here in the city. And what that is for some properties that have shallow services that are at risk of freezing. And it's not all properties, but there's a number of properties. And so what that requires is that there's a small flow of water that's required for each of those services through the coldest months to ensure that their services don't freeze. This has been something that the city's had in place for decades. And so that's going to increase our daily demand probably anywhere from probably around 1,000 cubes a day, plus or minus. So that'll probably knock it down to about 150 days. But again, we're in decent shape with reservoirs being topped up. The good news is Friday had a call with the province, and they're going to support our funding application for emergency pumping. So that's good news. So we're working through all the logistics of that. Still working on the permit application for the short-term temporary water withdrawal. So that will take probably another few weeks to up to 30 days for that to finalize. And we'll go from there. So the good news is we're not in bad shape right now, but we're getting everything in place because at some point throughout the winter or early spring, we'll be in a spot where we will need to pump prior to spring freshet, take advantage of the flows or the water at that point before turbidity comes into play and top up our reservoirs. Because even if we do have a good snowfall year, what's going to happen is in spring freshet, the Kiskatna is going to be very, very turbid, and we don't typically pump when it's like that. So we'll want to make sure our reservoirs are topped up prior to that spring freshet so we can get through that. And then if we do have a great winter with moisture and later in spring, we're able to conduct our business as usual. So we'll manage that supplemental pumping as necessary. We certainly in all our discussions with the province articulated that we will be efficient and respectful in how we do that. We're not going to pump if we don't need to, but we'll have everything in place to do it as and when we need to. So, yeah. Any questions around that?
Thanks, Kevin. Just before I open up for questions, I just want to take a moment just to thank you and the team at the water that deals with our water all the time, because I think, I know and see how much, they're reacting to just what the day brings them each day and how well they're managing our resource. I think it's, I don't think it's underestimated what they do or underappreciated, but I think that there's a lot of them that are working behind the scenes to ensure that we are securing our water the best that we can. And I just wanted to take the moment to talk about that and thank them and yourself, but also even, with the from the ministry talking about helping us with the application and the funding for this as well. Like there was a lot of information that the city team had to put forward to advocate for that. So I just, want to thank you and the team. And I know you pass it on to them, but
Absolutely.
It's very much appreciated. And they're, in September we were down to 150 days, and they've managed it extremely well to be able to gain water. And so thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And you're absolutely correct. Without the strong, dedicated team that we have in Watershed and the water treatment plant and in the emergency end of things, we wouldn't be in the same spot. So kudos to them. Very, very grateful to have that team and just the passion that they have. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And just the information they provide us, like in the education, it's amazing. So,
Well, and that was really critical part of this with the province, is that they really dug into it and needed that information, and we were able to provide it because we have the data and we have the people that are able to take that data and put it in a form that is meaningful and certainly told our story. So.
Yeah, thank you. Councillor Parslow?
Yes, obviously water's a topic of many casual conversations. So just a couple of questions. Who will be handling the tendering of the award for the installation of this temporary? Is it the province or will it be the city?
No, so through your worship, because it's an emergency, there is no requirement to tender.
Okay.
So what we did early on is we reached out to 3 companies. We got some pricing, and we've been working with one company for a number of weeks to kind of refine things based on that initial kind of quote. So we've I guess established a relationship with one company and moving forward on that.
So related to that, then all the equipment is on hand if needed.
Yes.
Okay. When this water comes online, will we be easing our water restrictions?
Through your worship, no. Part of that being in an emergency and part of working with the province is that we need to remain in stage 3.
Right. Just 2 more questions I'd like to have answers for. So the location of the intake is in the vicinity of Taylor. Is it upstream or downstream where the water from the gas plant at Taylor gets pushed back? They take their water out of the piece, use it, and put it back into the river. Is our intake going to be upriver or downriver from that?
So through your worship, I don't know exactly where that outflow will be that you're speaking of. I'd have to look at it, but what we're working with right now is pretty much almost across from them. Be slightly downstream from probably the plant across the river, but obviously on the south side.
Yeah, and I'm right in saying to people who ask me, there will be no use of this potable water for fracking, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's part of stage 3.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Parslow. Any other questions? Thanks, Kevin.
Yep.
Is that all you had?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, thank you. All right, next to our business diary, 13, nothing there. 14, consent calendar. Anybody want to lift anything from the consent calendar? No, can I get a motion to accept the consent calendar? Councillor Sudnick, second Councillor McDonald. Call that to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Next, 15, media questions. No media. 16, recess to close meeting. 16.1, resolution to move into the meeting of council closed to the public. For agenda item 2.1, section 91J, information that is prohibited or information that if were presented in a document would be prohibited from disclosure under section 21 of the Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act. Agenda item 2.1 and 6.1, section 91K, negotiations and related discussions respecting the proposed provision of a municipal service that are at their preliminary stages and that, in the view of the council, could reasonably be expected to harm the interests of the municipality if they were held in public. Agenda item 6.1, section 91I, the receipt of advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose. Councillor Kemp, second. Councillor Apollonio, we'll call that to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. All right, we'll take 5 and go into closed, or however long we need.